Is seller FOMO starting to kick in? Jeremy Nathan Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Look, for over the last 2 years, we've really seen that buyer FOMO really kick in, and buyers were buying like crazy. Well, now that prices are potentially at their peak, a lot of homeowners are starting to panic and put their homes on the market. I've been saying this for a while. I said this would happen, so here we are. So is seller FOMO real? What should you know if you're about to sell? If you're a buyer, pay attention, because all of this is very, very important for you. And what do you think about the new backdrop? Is it good? Don't like it? What do you think's happening in the market? Drop a comment below. We definitely want to hear from you. So I had this comment hit the other day, and it was basically just asking, like, should I be selling my home now because I'm worried that prices are coming down 20% or more? I responded to that comment a couple different ways, but I was also just recently on the Broke Agent Media podcast, and we had this to say about this key metric.
Something that keeps coming up is basically, should we be buying real estate? Should we be investing in real estate? Is this a bad investment? The numbers are clear over time. This is a NAR report they did earlier in the year, that if you own real estate for 5 years, the typical wealth gain is 155,000. 10 years, your typical wealth gain is almost $250,000. And if you own real estate for 30 years, the typical wealth gain, depending on location and your price point and all of that, is on average $359,000. I think if you go back to the 1930s, when your real estate and the ability to purchase real estate became more streamlined, there's never really been a time when owning real estate was bad for your wealth. The homeowner 75x more wealthy than the renter.
And I think we need to take it a step further and sometimes educate people on why they should not sell their house, why they should make it an investment property anyways.
You had a great TikTok on this. I just commented on it today. I love that TikTok. Paraphrase what you said in there.
Yeah. I mean, if it's very rare that you find somebody that's like, I'm so glad I sold my house 20 years ago. You know, everyone wishes they would have held on to it. The lifetime value of a property is so high. And if you are able to, like, not everyone can keep their house and buy another one, but if you can do it, keep it as an investment property, you're going to continue to get the equity gain. You're going to cash flow, and it's just an amazing wealth builder over time. And then you'd have two properties. So I think so many people just think the only option for them is, well, we need to upsize, so we need to sell our house. Well, sometimes you do, but what if you don't? I think it would behoove agents to, put on their advisor hat a bit more and maybe talk people out of selling, depending on the situation.
What you heard there was a lot of realtors telling you that a long-term investment is what is better for purchasing a home. And so what we're seeing right now is a lot of homeowners over the last 2 years treat their properties like a stock. And once the market goes down a little bit, they get scared and they throw their homes in the market. This video should be a warning to all of you sellers that are getting ready to sell over fear that the market's about to crash. Now, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there that are propagating this fear of a crash. Now, I'm not saying a crash isn't happening, but what I'm saying is that when people are telling you prices are going to drop 40%, how do they actually know? And a lot of that data really isn't complete data. We've actually said that for a long time. But the reality is the longer you own an asset, the more equity you gain. Now think about this too. If you take that asset, like the question I had right here from this gentleman, if you hold that, somebody else is going to be paying your mortgage on that property, and you as a homeowner get to deduct those things from your taxes. The property taxes you get to deduct, the interest, all of that stuff are deductions. And if you own a home, you get to deduct things you can't as a renter. So it is advisable that if you're going to buy a home, make sure you're not buying it just for a year or two and getting rid of it after that, because I've said in way older videos that you shouldn't buy in a brand new neighborhood if you're getting ready to sell it in about 2 or 3 years, because then you will be competing against the builder. And now this is what is happening. Look, we went from 1,800 homes on the market back in January up to about 9,500 homes on the MLS right now. About a third of that is actually new builds that took forever to build. You have a lot of homeowners that were buying a lot of these new builds as move-up buyers, so they're now trying to get their home sold because they're finally getting their new build closed, which means that we have inventory from the people, on the move up, and then we have inventory from the builder, which is causing even more inventory. And then we have a lot of sellers doing like what this comment right here was, just wanting to sell because they're afraid the market is going to crash. The reality is that you really shouldn't treat your home that way. You really should have longevity. Even this chart here that we were talking about shows that 5 years, you're making 155 grand. If holding 10 years, you're looking 255. And if you're holding 30 years, it's 359,000. Now, the crazy part is in the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of homeowners do a 10-year run in about 2 years. I mean, if you bought a home in 2020, you're sitting really pretty. If you bought a home at the end of 2021 when prices dropped, you're still not too bad. Now, if you look at like this stat from this article that shows that Austin is number 2 in the most equity-rich communities, you can see why a lot of people are flooding to get their home on the market. They're looking at like, hey, I got $300,000 in equity. Let me pull this out. I would say if you don't need to sell your home, then don't. Continue to write all of those things off. And I think that's what people don't understand that are renters. You can't write anything off being a renter. And that kind of sucks. That's the advantage of being a homeowner, is that you can write off properties. Yes, you're paying property taxes, but you as a renter are paying somebody else's property taxes. You're paying somebody else's mortgage. So this isn't a video to advocate that you go out and buy, but what you can do as a buyer right now, if you are going to buy, yes, interest rates have gone up. That's another reason why I think people are starting to panic and getting their homes on the market. They think the market's going to come crashing down. Yet if you're a buyer right now, for the first time in a very long time, I just got an FHA buyer under contract, 25 grand below list price plus 5 grand in closing costs. I've not been able to do that in a very long time. So if you're a buyer right now, I would be looking at deals coming up. Look, we know one thing, and that's pretty much that interest rates are going to go up. So since interest rates are going to go up, it might be in your best interest to purchase one of these homes that are getting FOMO'd by sellers. Now, sellers, if you're going to be putting your home on the market, I highly suggest that you price it accordingly, because the reality is that if you had $300,000 in equity, well, prices are coming down. The June numbers are about to come out. In fact, they'll probably come out the same time this video does. And I guarantee you the June numbers are going to be down. All right, just in time for this video, the numbers did come out this morning. It looks like prices dropped 50 grand in the Austin area from 667, 664 all the way down to 615. And in the MSA, they dropped about $13,000 last month. I'm gonna do a full video on that to go over and break down and look through all those numbers, but I wanted to get that in for this video. We did see pretty significant price drops. Well, month over month for June, year over year, we're still positive. And I guarantee you the July numbers are gonna be down. Pretty much this happens this time of year every year where prices come down. Now they're coming down a lot more because we saw prices increase. But if you go from January to December, you will still see a year over year price increase. Yes, they went up really high and they came back down in pretty much May. Yet year over year, you're still going to see a price increase. And this is why people are saying the market's going to crash. It's better off just to buy and hold instead of selling soon. So what do you think? Drop a comment below. Am I totally off basis? Just run and get your home on the market because it's all scary and all that? That's up to you. Should you be buying a home? Well, it's up to your finances as well. Watch one of these videos. They're great videos. And if you haven't subscribed, Shelly, which I know you haven't, it's time for you to subscribe, Shelly. Everybody tell Shelly to subscribe. We'll catch you next video.